the whole focus of the strategic session that will follow, and he's going to indicate to us the role that PwC will play. Mr. Adrian Tate.
Morning, everyone. Honorable Prime Minister, Governor General, Ministers, all protocols observed. This is my first time in St. Kitts, so I'm going to take that round of applause as my warm welcome to your country. Thanks very much. It's always good to get the applause at the start of a speech rather than at the end, since you don't know exactly what I'm going to say. You mightn't like it, so thanks again. PwC has facilitated a number of these sessions in Jamaica, I'm from Jamaica, and across the region. But I will admit that this is the first one that I've come to, and there's been such a great effort put out to set the stage and to demonstrate, the importance of the session, and two, to provide this background in terms of what the SIDF has done. Just by way of anecdote, yesterday when we were coming in from the airport, I took the opportunity to ask the taxi driver just what's going on and ask about the SIDF. He's a relatively elderly gentleman, and he said, I asked him if he grew up in St. Kitts, if he knows about the sugar industry. When it closed, he said, yes, man, I know that, but boy, the SIDF, I just don't know what they're doing. And the funny thing that I would say is that hopefully tomorrow when I leave, I'll try and call him, and I will find out, did you see it on the news yesterday? Do you now know what they're doing? I find myself in a relatively unenviable position where I'm following from such a distinguished line of speakers. And secondly, I am the last thing standing between you and a break. So to borrow from Dr. Ballantyne, I will neither be the voice nor the face associated with an undue delay. So I'll move along quickly. Briefly, I just want to cover what we've seen this morning. I considered that to be the part one. This is the movie. This afternoon, there is a sequel. What's going to happen later on and this afternoon is that we're going to run you through a series of sessions dedicated to identifying those projects or initiatives coming out of that out-of-the-box thinking and moving away from the conventional thinking, as Peter Adrian had mentioned in his presentation. The exploratory working session has been organized to bring new thinking on a mix of projects to be funded. And the objective, as we said, is to challenge conventional business ideas and identify alternative, but very important, high-value business opportunities that can push the production possibility frontier outward and transform the economy and society. I think there are a few important statements here. One is that we're challenging conventional wisdom, and two is that we're identifying alternative high-value business opportunities to transform the economy. Now, this has been a consistent theme that's come across in a number of the presentations so far. Our planning approach has been structured, as Peter said, around 5 themes: educational services, economic diversification and food security, alternative energy, tourism and hospitality, and recreation, culture, and sports. And it's interesting, in doing some of the background reading for the engagement, our team, in looking at the Prime Minister's budget address, in looking at the IMF report on St. Kitts, everything seems to be tying together. At first, we couldn't understand where it is that these came from. But we're seeing the imperatives and the drivers of the economy as related to all these things here. And there's a consistency in what everybody's saying about the St. Kitts economy, that these are the things that need to be focus areas moving forward. Each theme or each area, how is it going to work? Each theme or each area that we're going to focus on has a specific set of goals and objectives. These have already been identified by the SIDF. And they will act as a starting point for the discussion and ultimately determination of projects that are to be funded. So we'll start with what I call a set of 4 or so building blocks. The first thing is the goal. These have already been identified by SIDF, and they're really the broad long-term aims in relation to a specific theme or area. The second thing or building block that we'll look at is the objectives. Having defined what that long, broad-term aim is, What are the key measures of success to deliver that broad long-term goal? These have also already been developed by the SIDF. So what we're going to focus on really is the things now that are going to determine the projects, the initiatives related to those areas. And there are a couple components. One, since we already now know what the goals and the objectives are, what are what we call the critical success factors and the barriers? What are the things that we need to ensure are in place, or the obstacles that need to be managed in delivering those objectives and realizing those goals? So that is one of the components of the sessions this afternoon. The second piece is the actual projects and the initiatives themselves. What are the things that we're actually going to do to transform the economy? I'm stealing Peter's words. I'm stealing everybody's words. Transform the economy. A facilitation team. I'd like to just take the opportunity to introduce you to my team. We're breaking out into 5 groups, so it's not just me. There's a team from PwC. Education services will be run by Chris Zambrano. He's sitting over there in the second row. Economic diversification and food security will be run by some Jamaican guy, Adrian Tate, not sure who. Alternative energy will be run by Jared, right? He's not the jeweler. Tourism and hospitality will be run by Keisha Tingling, also from Jamaica. Recreation, culture, and sports, and the creative industry will be run by Lois Alick from Barbados. I'd also like to take the opportunity just to introduce some of my fellow partners, one from Antigua. I think everybody should know him. Charles Walwyn, right? And also from St. Kitts, Jeff Hunt, he's here, yes. Okay, thanks very much. So this is a team from PwC that will be assisting in the process to move you forward. Our roles. In facilitated sessions, it's important just to understand what our role is and what the participant's role is. And I see it very simply. A facilitator's role is to facilitate. So we do things like manage the time, maintain the group energy, try to focus on what the objectives and the deliverables are coming out of the facilitated session, assist the group in reflection on its own experience, and manage group conflict. That can be quite entertaining, actually. The participant, their fundamental role, as you can see, the first thing is just to participate. I think it's going to be important that, given the nature of what we're trying to achieve here, everybody's voice is heard and that everybody has a say, so that what we come out with is truly a group effort and a group outcome. We also want you to share experiences, think outside the box, and importantly, challenge the traditional assumptions. We're trying to move towards a new paradigm where we transform the economy. I don't think that that's going to happen by thinking in any narrow parameters that we've traditionally thought in. So what's next? I think after this media session and snack break, and this is the last slide, you need to proceed quickly to the respective breakout sessions. I think the people who are in them will know who they are, where you'll get further instructions from your facilitator. That's it from me. Thanks very much, everyone.